Okay, students, this week I wanted to add a little quick video in this discussion board, and the reason is because last week some people had some problems with this with the discussion board because they didn't really quite read the whole instructions. People would actually not do the full post, or do the post wrong, or not answer the questions that were answered. And so I want to make sure that people actually do it this time and do it. So when you post this week, you're going to be posting about one of these rocks. For example, let's do one. This is rock 1. It will take you to a site here where you can learn about a specific rock. Okay, and you'll make some observations based off of that rock that you see here. It's going to take a bit to load here, but you'll look at that rock and look at the observations that you have, look at the mineral structure of it and the patterns that you see here, and you're going to try to estimate what kind of rock it is based off of a chart that I give you, and this is the chart that I have, that it will help you through the process of determining what kind of rock it is. Okay, but that's not the only thing you need to do, because some people, I've already had a couple of people post, and that's all they did is just did that. You need to also try to figure out what its depositional environment is. Okay, so if I go back to where I was here in the discussion type, it asks you here in your initial post, you're asked to come with as many observations as you can regarding the rock, and then based off these observations, you'll identify the rock and then explain what depositional environment that rock was deposited in here. Okay, when you identify it, please go through and discuss why you identified it as that, and then also explain why you think is that depositional environment. What clues do you have that depositional environment is correct? Okay, and there's something that you're going to need to do for that. Now, if you haven't been watching the videos and reading the text, this one's going to be a tough one to do without watching the videos and the text. So just remember to actually start preparing for that, especially when you get to the exam that's due on the 6th. That's what our first exam is. If you're not watching these videos, I promise you're not going to do very well on the exam, because some of my information for the exams actually comes from the lecture slides themselves and the lecture material that we go over in those videos. So please, if you're not doing that, you need to start. And please actually follow instructions as you go. Now, when you respond to these, you need to respond with going through, and when you make a comment, your 2 comments you have to make, you need to actually either agree or disagree with the individual conclusions, and you just can't just say, I agree, and be done with it. You need to say, I agree because of this, or I disagree because of this, and then explain why the conclusion is accurate or not. Now, if it's not accurate, you need to kind of explain to us what you think it is then. Okay? Why do you think do you think it's something different? And so the point of this is in class, I would be doing these identification things inside of class, where we'll be giving you guys each rocks, and we'll try to identify it, try to identify the deposition environment in class, and we'll be passing these around to be able to see how people can actually make these observations and then understand the material based off of that. And that's something that will be helpful in the exam. So in this here is going to try to duplicate this in some way. Now, if you don't actually participate by actually engaging in the discussion, then you're going to have a harder time to do it when it comes time to do it in the exam, right? Now, I'm not going to go through the same depth of this and saying what kind of exact rock is this or whatever, but I am going to try to get you to understand by looking at the rock, you can understand the depositional environment. And so those are both important concepts, and they're concepts that will help us to understand the world around us a little bit better. Okay, so I just wanted to start off with that one there. And also remember, look at the rubric. Okay, you need to have citations. If you actually cited something from a website somewhere, you need to actually cite your source. Cite it by putting actual words there. And you have to be in your own words. Changing 1 or 2 words in a sentence is not your own words. I see that all the time. People actually get there, they'll put the first part of one sentence on it, first part of another sentence on it. That is not your own words. That is almost word for word from the other site. That is not a proper citation, and that's, if you want to be very technical, plagiarism. So unless you have quotes around it and the whole bit. So make sure that you actually are going through that. I know you guys aren't blatantly trying to do plagiarism, and so I'm not concerned about that. But there are some times when and it's almost like you're copying and pasting things, and that's not an assignment. That doesn't tell me that you're understanding a thing. What that's telling me is you're really good at copying and pasting. So make sure that you actually are understanding the concepts, because if you don't understand the concepts, you're not going to do well on our exams. So these discussions are to help you to get to that point and have some interaction. Okay, talk to you guys later.